welcome. Today's session, we're going to talk about value. Okay, so value is someone's or something's usefulness, worth, or importance. Value is your usefulness, worth, or importance. The quality of that value is determined by the way that you are compared to other similar things. Okay, so this is where sometimes we place our value in the wrong things, right? And when you place your value in the wrong things, if that is determining your worth or your importance, if that thing makes you feel less important, then you feel that that's what your value is, and that may not necessarily be true, right? So the quality of that value is determined by the way you are compared to other similar things. Your character influences your value. The quality of your character should be respected and admired by you first. Okay, so often our self-esteem is diminished by others who don't respect or admire us because we are seeking this outward validation outside before it is inside, right? And self-esteem starts with self. Okay, so you yourself must respect and admire yourself first, right? Because if you look outward for that, you'll always look outward for that. Okay, so how do you measure the quality or value of a person? How is that measured? I need you to understand that that is measured by your level of understanding. Okay, if you are a complex human being, and by complex I mean that when you're being your authentic self, people have a hard time connecting to you. If you want their companionship or friendship, it's your position to break you down to them, right? Not get offended, not get upset that they don't understand the multiple layers of you, right? It's up to you. If you're a complex person, if you have all of these different layers, it's up to you to explain that to someone else so that they have an understanding of who you are. Now, if those complexities are because you have 12 different personalities, then it's time to seek a specialist. Okay, so I'm not talking about having different personalities. I just mean there's a whole lot of different layers of you, right? Or you need to speak to someone that can get to the real version of you and bring that out. Okay, so your value, your self-esteem, this is fed or diminished by what you choose to believe. Okay, and you mostly believe people or systems that you place value in, right? So before you believe in a system, find out why you value that system. Do you value it because you were told to, you were convinced to, you were manipulating to it, or because it benefits you entirely, right? You don't want to have a belief in a system or certain people just because you were convinced, hey, I should value this person's opinion of me, right? It must benefit you entirely. If you're going to choose to believe in something, make sure it's benefiting you mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, right? Before you decide that everything that this person or whatever system you believe in, before you say it's true, before you place value in that, make sure there's some sort of benefit to you, not just to them, right? Because a lot of times we value people and we value certain systems and certain perspectives because we bring value to them. They don't necessarily bring value to us, right? And so that's why we're learning to get out of our system the influences that we've previously believed in that were lies, right? You may have been trained as a toddler to believe certain esteemed people because everybody else was convinced to, right? Just because a person is in a position of power or influence does not mean that you should automatically value or place your belief in what they say. Have what they've been saying benefited you? Think about it. These are things that we don't think about before we accept something to be true, right? Does it benefit the people around you? Does it make you a better person? the thing you're placing value in, the person you're putting value in, right? Think about it, okay? Your foundation helps you decide a person's value or quality. If you don't have a good foundation, you may undervalue somebody unintentionally, right? And we need to give those people the right information about us, about who we are, so that they have the opportunity to change their perspective or keep us where they have us. Okay, we need a good foundation. Okay, and remember, contentment is one of our foundational principles, right? You can give 100% because you recognize that your sufficiency is within you, not outside of you, not whether or not somebody else values or want you. If you know your sufficiency comes from within, right? It's not based on what's outside, okay? And you can get dropped into complacency because you're not content within yourself, with who God has created you to be. And I'm talking about from, our physical appearance to our identity. We don't like who God made us to be, so we try to squash it. We try to change it. We let other people change it. We reject God's version of us, so we begin to seek validation in other things and people, right? And validation is when you are seeking anything outside of yourself to feel recognized or to affirm your worth, okay? Validation is when you are seeking anything outside of yourself to feel recognized or to affirm your worth. And it can be anything and any person, okay? Your self-worth is often tied to how others perceive you because of the lack of confidence in the value of self, right? You don't even have confidence in what you feel about yourself. So you tie your self-worth into how everybody else perceive you, okay? But the self-esteem and the value must start within you first, right? Or you will always look outside of you to find your worth. And if people don't know you and they don't care to get to know you, they're going to devalue you. And it's going to cause you to keep showing up as somebody else so that you can feel valued. But they're not really valuing you. They're valuing the pretend you, right? And value looks different to different people, okay? The way people show or receive that they value something, it depends on what they have understood value to be based on their life influences. And that can be good or bad. If they've had bad life experiences dealing with your type of person, they're going to perceive you to be that. They don't even know you, right? So the way they value things looks different, okay? There are different qualities about you that you place value on, and also qualities that you want valued by others. That needs to be understood, right? When people first meet you, if you're showing up as your authentic self, they know what you value, okay? If you value your appearance, then you'll want others to value that as well. When you naturally don't place a high value on your appearance, people noticing you may get offended that you didn't receive their compliment, but that's not where you place your value, right? And we have to give people the grace in that area. If they haven't figured out what that value is to you, right? And I'm not talking about you not placing value on your appearance because you were traumatized or you were minimized, right? I mean, you're just that type of person that's not vain about it, okay? So when you're thinking about your relationships with people, this is what I need you to understand. And it will stop a lot of offense and arguments when you know what someone's value system is. You have to know where they're coming from. You have to have an understanding of the experiences they've had in their lives, right? If you give a toddler a $50 bill and a $5 bill, the value is the same to them, right? Because they don't have an understanding that the $50 bill is more. And this happens with people in our relationships, right? You ever heard the saying that you don't miss what you have until it's gone? It's the same concept. Until you know the value of what you have, you won't treat it, and people won't treat you how you deserve to be treated, right? Until you find the value in yourself, people are not going to treat you as someone with value until they know you. Now, there's people that know you and see the value in you, and they will continue to remind you who you are, right? But everybody doesn't have that type of person in their life. So until you know the value of what you have, you won't treat it, and people won't treat you how you deserve to be treated. Is it because you've accepted less than you deserve? Is that why you feel like you don't have value? Is it because when you showed up, you only showed your weakness? You didn't show your strengths. You didn't want anybody to know what your gifts were, what your talents were, where you were strong at. Is it because you taught them your worth based on what everybody else said you were worth, and you believed them because you placed these people in a high place, but they wasn't benefiting you? But you placed every opinion, everything they say, you placed it above what you should feel about yourself. And so my question is, how important are you to you? How important are you to you? Because that's how you teach people to treat you. Your value has to be more important than a toxic friendship or relationship. Your value has to become more important than minimum wage and unsatisfying careers, right? Your value has to be worth more than a handbag, right? Don't diminish your value and your morals to doing something for a handbag, right? The quality of your integrity has to be more than the lie you're about to tell, right? The quality of your confidence must be more than the images portrayed by others, okay? Once you understand who you are, what you value, then you will be able to teach others who you are and the quality of your value, okay? Appreciation. Let's talk about appreciation. Appreciation is the recognition of the value of someone or something, okay? In order to appreciate something, you must first recognize the value of it, right? So if you're dealing with friendships or relationships that don't recognize the value, they will never appreciate it, okay? And in order to recognize the value of something, you need an understanding of its value system. And in order to gain understanding, you need knowledge. And knowledge is what? Knowledge is information. So the information that you receive must be factual. It must be facts on facts on facts, okay? So if at any point of this cycle there's a half-truth, there's a misunderstanding, or there's a lack of information, there will not be a recognition of value or an appreciation of value, okay? This is why some of us end up in these cycles and circles of these relationships that are just toxic. And I mean every kind: family relationships, sibling relationships, friendships, work relationships, married relationships. If at any point of this cycle that there's a half-truth, there's a misunderstanding or lack of information, there will not be a recognition of value or an appreciation of value. That's why I keep stressing to show up as you. That way, when they get the version of you that is true and they deny it or devalue it, there's no need for us to continue, right? People who have evil intentions or desires for you, they devalue you in their minds long before they do it verbally or physically. People who have evil intentions or desires for you, they've already devalued you in their minds long before they do it verbally or physically, okay? The way that they speak about you to others, or the way they speak about people like you, they've already devalued you in their minds. Their distaste for you is evident by their actions or people like you. They'll tell it. They will tell on themselves. And if you ignore it and you fall into it, that's not really on them, because they're showing up as who they are. They're showing up as evil, right? And you're hearing how they talk about someone who has the same value as you or the same morals as you, but you ignore it, okay? If you choose to ignore it and you place them as a foundation for your value system, you will no longer value yourself. You will find yourself doing things that you said you would never do, saying things that you said you would never say, being in places that you said you would never go, accepting things that you said you would never accept. Okay? So that's why those of you who have been physically and mentally traumatized, that's why counseling is needed to combat that destruction of your value system. Right? So now that you know that, you can see how certain people in your life may have misjudged you or undervalued you. And you can also see how you've done the same to some people, right? It's no one else's job to teach someone what you're worth unless they are representing you in your absence. Okay? It is not someone else's job to teach someone what you're worth unless they are representing you in your absence. And by that, I mean like your spouse, your parents, your children, your friends, your boss, people like that. These people will show your value to others by what he or she allows to be said or done in your absence. And this is not for you to check them and do all of this and that. It's for you to have the information that you need to know that, like, okay, I need to watch you. I need to be careful about you, right? Because you don't value me. Okay? In that aspect, they teach others to respect and value you when they are representing you in your absence. Okay? Every single person has something to be valued, whether they realize it or not, whether they are operating in it or not. Everyone has something to be valued. Everyone has good qualities that you can learn to appreciate. If someone chooses not to, it is their choice. It is their opinion, right? Now, if you know the choice that they've made and if you still seek to find value in them, your frustration is your fault. Your hurt feelings are your fault because they've shown you, even though you've given them the correct version of you, they don't see the value in that. So you being frustrated because they don't see your value when they've already shown you that, but you're still trying to force it, and you seem surprised that your feelings are hurt. They didn't value your feelings, but you ignored it, right? You ignored it when they did it to somebody like you, right? At that point, when you realize that someone does not value you, even though you've shown them the correct version of you, at that point, you should recognize that they just may have wanted you, not valued you, right? When someone wants something, it's generally one-sided, right? When they want something, not that they value it, they just want it, it's generally one-sided. If somebody says, like, I want a husband, well, does that husband want you, right? Do you think about that? Do he want you as a wife? Okay? When you value getting a husband, then you consider what he thinks as well, right? People want better jobs, but do they place value on that? They want it, right? But do they place value on it? Will they show up on time? Will they maintain integrity? right? Will you operate at full intelligence and strength, or will you halfway do your job? This determines if you value that job and not just want it for what it can do for you. And so a lot of times we want things or people to validate and affirm us. We want it to value us, but we just want it. You don't want to just be wanted. You want to be valued, meaning it's both ways. It's not just one. It's just not just what you can do for them, right? When someone values you, it's what can be done for you as well. Okay. So when you surround yourself with people who value you and do things that bring value to you, it feeds your spirit and it is beneficial to your overall state of being. When you only do what you want to do, but it brings no value, then you're just feeding your body. You're just feeding your ego and your pride, which will only satisfy a part of you. It'll only satisfy your mental, right? Or it'll only satisfy your flesh, but it's not beneficial to you as a total being. Okay. So I want you to understand value. It's your job to show up as yourself in your strength, right? Giving people the right information to make that determination of where they place the value, right? But before you care about how you're valued outside, you have to look at yourself and find those qualities that you like, that you value, right? You should respect and admire you first, okay, before you're seeking something outward. And then whatever you're seeking outward, find out why you're placing value in that person. Why does it matter that this particular person validates me? Right? Does it come from the truth? Or does it come from some deep-seated need for acceptance in a certain type of person's character? Right? Because people can dismiss us, and what will happen is we'll look for acceptance in somebody that has the same characteristics as them. Okay, so your value. This is why I had you all go to people for 7 days and ask them what was your best quality, right? Because you might be lying to yourself. You might be telling yourself you don't mean anything, you're worthless, you're stupid, right? But if for 7 days people have told you the opposite, guess what? You got to kick out the lie, right? And so understand that the measure of your value, you figure that out by understanding. If people don't understand you, you can't really expect them to value you because they don't know. They don't know what you have, especially if you're not giving them what you have. They don't know. If you're not telling them, they don't know. Okay? We can't get so upset with people not understanding us, right? If we haven't explained certain aspects of our character to them. Hey, I like this. I don't like this. I place value in this. I don't really care about that, right? And then people who are in relationship with you, they will not do things or put you in a position to cause you to devalue yourself, knowing the information about you that they know. Okay. So whether they use intimidation or manipulation, if they value you, they won't do that. And it doesn't matter what it looks like on the outside. Okay. It does not matter what it looks like on the outside. And sometimes we are so blinded by what we see with our eyes, we're not paying attention that this is not benefiting us. Right? So pay attention to the systems and the people that you place value in. Pay attention on why. Is it because you were told to? Is it because you were manipulated into placing value into it? And sometimes we don't place value in the things that we should. right? Because of what so-and-so is going to say or what so-and-so is going to think. But if it's benefiting you, that's what you should place value in. Okay, so that concludes our session for today. I want to end with our statement. Today is the day for the new me. Whatever you've learned, whatever you've heard, today is the day for the new me. To follow the instructions, to be the example for my peers. I will be understanding. I will be more open to learn how to respond, to feel happy about all of the things that once affected me. I am somebody's answer today and in the future. So these are things that you can help other people with. Okay. If you see someone is not valuing themselves, right? But you see that it's because they potentially are not showing up as their authentic self, right? You want to help them. Hey, you're not stupid. You're very intelligent. Stop saying that about yourself. I've told my children that stupid is a curse word, and it is a curse. Saying you can't do something is a curse. So for them, it's a curse word. You know, whatever you speak on yourself is what you will be. It might start off as a joke at first, but then you'll realize, wait a minute, why didn't I know the answer to that? I know the answer to that. Well, you've been saying you're stupid for 5 years. So eventually stupid's going to catch up with you, right? So understand your value. You need to respect and admire your qualities, your character, who you are. Do that first before you begin seeking it outwardly. Because most of the time when you seek it outwardly, you're seeking it from someone who doesn't value you. And so you all be blessed, and I will see you next Friday. Remember to share this with people that you know need it. We're also on YouTube under Replenish 3125. So I'll try to post little shorts and snippets of the session so you guys can have it if you need to remember or write down anything. But God bless you all. See you next Friday.